Hey, everybody, welcome to another night of Bucs Live. I am here. I am Rick Hughes, one of your hosts, along with the other one over there, Dave.
Yes, sir.
There you are.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Yeah, and we are ready to talk Buccaneer football. I'm ready to talk Buccaneer football. We're also going to talk top 25 quarterbacks of all time.
Not according to my
We got a list. We'll talk about
You got
it.
nothing.
On Bucs Live.
Are you ready?
Get ready. It's time for Bucs Live.
Wait a minute. Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers talk with Rick Hughes and David Whitecarver.
This is
Bucs Live.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Let's go. 1 month, guys. 1 month. Count it down. 1 month until training camp begins. It's coming. It is coming. Dave.
Any Randy Gregory sightings?
Dave, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. So you been grumpy this off season?
I'm ready for week one. I said
Yeah.
that last week. I am ready. I'm not normally ready right now. I am ready for it to start right now.
Yeah, you're ready to go. I'm
The Bucs in
excited
there,
about the year.
2 wins.
I saw some lists today. You know what's funny is Mike Florio is historically always anti-Buccaneer from Sports Talk or Football Talk on Pro Football Talk on NBC. And he's got the Bucs listed as the ninth best team overall, which I think is reasonable. We can talk about that next week. So Mike Florio's got the Bucs listed as number 9 overall. Reasonable, not reasonable. We can get into that if we want to. We can do it today. We'll see.
Did you notice where the Falcons are?
I did not. Did you?
No, I didn't. I've been ignoring Mike Florio for years. He's always anti-Bucs.
Oh, yes, he is. You'll have to check it out because I know it's below the Bucs. But there were some other ones. I saw another list. I don't remember where it was that had the Bucs listed as the 22nd best team in the league. I was like, wait,
Are they
what?
counting soccer too, or
what? No. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But yeah, it's gonna be fun tonight. We're gonna talk Bucs, and one cool thing we're gonna do is talk top 25 quarterbacks of all time. And we've got someone who's going to join us, and let's not make him wait. Let's go ahead and bring him in from the aftermath.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Bringing some
man,
nice
AJ,
orange
how you
color onto
been?
the screen.
Absolutely, I'm doing.
we don't
all
chat
right, guys.
enough?
Got to say, the beard, David, the mustache is like that.
Yeah.
Keep it up, David. It's awesome. And to,
I try hard.
and to answer your question, Mike Florio has the Falcons at 8-19.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Mike
yeah, and he had the
Florio.
Bucs at 9. So
Well,
Yeah.
where are the Saints at
Where's
3
he at
or
the
something
Saints?
crazy
Yeah.
like that?
The
So-
Saints are 24, where they
Oh.
should be.
Okay, I have some respect for Mike.
wow.
Yeah.
Right.
My only disagreement I would have, I would put the Bucs over the Eagles and Packers, but that's just me.
Well, I don't know
like
what
the-
to do with the Eagles. I
They're
get it.
trash.
I get
know
it.
what
I
to do
don't
with
know
them.
what to do with them. I mean, how do you recover? What I want to know is how do you recover after the end of last year? Because
Yeah.
the team walked out on the coach. I mean, the
Yes, they
team
did.
just stopped playing.
Yes.
How does a coach change that as soon as you start losing again? I
Well, there
mean,
you go.
And they're running it back. That's the thing that blows my mind.
right.
You
Well,
had
that's what I
you had
mean.
the ultimate implosion, and you ran it back. It's
Yeah.
like I think they're in the trash can. I don't see them getting out.
Yeah,
No,
that's
not at all.
Yeah.
You both are right. I think, and this is where sometimes I think the media, they're giving them grace because of what they were 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were Super Bowl, but now we have to stick to the reality. You both just said it. You talking about an organization that's gonna have to start over. We've been there, Buck fans. Remember Raheem Morris? When your team walks out on a coach, that you must order in the locker room is necessary, and that takes time. It takes time, and the Eagles have to find an identity. What is their offense? They don't know. Are they a throw team? Are they a run team? We know we can stop that little tush push.
Yeah, we may be the only team that can do it. We may have to we may have to break some rules to do it, but
Hey,
we'll do it.
I get it. And the Green Bay Packers, I think they're another one because of which is funny because they beat the Cowboys. Usually the Cowboys are overhyped, but now I think the Packers are getting a little because of what they saw what the Packers did to the Cowboys, which is cool. But I think what the Bucs did to the Eagles was more upsetting because the Cowboys, we know who they are in the playoffs. The Eagles were still favorites.
Well, the thing though, I think honest, I'm going to be honest about this. I don't think we did much to the Eagles. I think the Eagles did it to the Eagles, and I think they were done. And this is my whole point about all of this. When you walk out on your coach, I just don't know how you come back from that.
Yeah.
I mean, when the pressure's on, look, every team in the league faces times during the season when there's adversity and when there's maybe where you have to be professional and put away doubt. Okay, you can't run around and scream after. I just realized this is going to be funny. You can't scream and whine and moan every time you lose a game. You've got to.
Yes, we can. You've
got to pull it together. I mean, whenever you do that, not you in particular, well, you too, but whenever somebody does that, I just want to, this is all that comes to mind. Whenever you lose a game and somebody freaks out, this is all that comes to mind.
First time.
That's
I like that too much.
Yeah, first time. I mean, is this your first time going through this? Because we look, every team's going to face that.
Yes.
In Philadelphia, we've seen there's something going on in the head right now of Philadelphia. I don't know what they've done to address that in the offseason. I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see if it's possible for a team to pull to return from something like that. Now, as soon as you might say, oh, wow, everything's coming apart, it's over.
Yes.
Look what the Florida Panthers did last night. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not going to throw Philadelphia out right now and say they're done.
Yes.
I'm going to say, okay, fine. You put them at 8 or whatever. Okay. But there's an asterisk.
Yes, I agree.
Preseason asterisks.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8, potentially 18. Okay,
yeah.
I mean
that's fair. That's a fair assessment. That's very fair. I agree. We still again. I'm all about football, just the football aspect of it.
Yeah.
What's your identity, Jalen? Are you going to be in the pocket? Are you going to move? AJ Brown? Are you going to have an AB 2.0 meltdown when things don't go your way? They have a stacked. We've seen this in the past teams with stacked players on offense and defensive side, and they still implode and they don't find a way. And the NFC East is going to be competitive. I know it's crazy, but we see this happen all the time that teams that aren't supposed to be good come out firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
I think if this team loses early, it's going to get ugly. In my personal opinion.
Philly could win the division or come in 4th.
That's right.
I mean, it could go either way. Dallas, everybody, here's the thing. Dallas is going to be Dallas. They're going to be good. They're going to be hard to beat.
Yep.
They're going to win the division. Probably they're probably going to be tough to knock out of the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
But someone will do it.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
It's just a matter of time.
That's
Dak Prescott will have a key turnover, and that'll be that.
I mean, it's going to happen, and he's going to have a great year and be phenomenal.
His agent will love it.
Is it safe to say he's Tony Romo with a tan?
It's safe for you. It's safe for you to say that.
I mean,
it's not safe for me or Dave to say that, but it's safe for you to say that.
He just gives me that.
Feel uncomfortable and go, oh, I hope this goes away.
I love it. I love it. I like seeing y'all do that. I'm going to throw some more in there later on down the line. I literally think Dave was about to grow a goatee after that one. He's like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
I respond. No, but seriously, Dak to me is 2.0, Romo. Like you said, you're right, Rick. That's a team where, okay, in the regular season, they can be a force, but even then they're hot and cold because we see what happens when they play legit teams, they get embarrassed. When they play mediocre to bad teams, they do their job. So as you
Washington and the Giants, I think will both be improved this year.
I think so too.
And I think Dallas will not be as good as last year. I think last year was their shot.
Ooh.
I think last year was their shot.
I like that. That's a hot take there, Rick, because the people are actually saying this year's their shot. I tend to agree with you. I said last season was their window of opportunity because they're getting to that point now where you got to get contract issues. Parsons going to want more money. We already see what CeeDee Lamb is requesting. If you don't, I say this. Mark my words, gentlemen. If the Cowboys exit ugly again in the playoffs, Dave, I think it's gonna be a hell to pay in Dallas because you can't get embarrassed again, especially if they're a 12-win team. Right. And I think they'll be a 12-win team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that
12-win team with no shot at the Super Bowl. That's reality.
Hey, how many years did we look at the Colts in the early 2000s that looked like they were contenders, and then Tom Brady happened?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Who you're playing does matter.
So I mean, early vibes, early pick for the NFC. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Early vibes, early pick. Listen, everybody who says Detroit's not real because Detroit wasn't real for so many decades, I think Detroit's real. Remember Tampa wasn't real, and then they won a Super Bowl. I mean, you're not until you do. Okay, but I mean, I get it to be tough on them. I get it.
I think they just peaked a little early. People make the assumption that because you almost got to the Super Bowl, well, then you're going to do it the following year, and that's not necessarily the case. I think they played above their heads. Do I think they're a good football team? Yes. Do I think they're winning the division? Probably. Do I think that they're a lock for the Super Bowl? Absolutely not.
Oh, nobody's a lock. Nobody's a lock.
David, you just said it. They're that Cinderella team, but what happens to Cinderella teams when people figure you out? Because now this
Cinderella anymore.
This is going to be the second year. I agree with David. I think Detroit. I think they'll break that bad streak where they'll be contenders for a while, but Super Bowl, no. Good playoff team, yes. Let's see what happens.
Who's going from the NFC?
You might. Well, honestly, the NFC is a toss-up now because if Brandon Ayuk does not go back to the 49ers or they're in turmoil, that's going to be a lot for them to. This what makes the NFC crazy. It's anybody's game. You just said the Eagles could be first or last. Hell, the Washington team could be second to last. It doesn't matter.
So we need to just call them that from now on. The Washington team, just because I don't remember what they're called.
They're the Commodores.
I don't know what they're called this week.
I need Lionel Richie to get out there and perform. If he performs all night in DC, that will be my second team. And if they just coin the Commodores, that should be the culture name. The Washington Commodores. Guarantee you they'll sell it all the time for good reasons. But
Nice.
yeah, the NFC though, guys, it's a toss up.
How good are the Bears going to be this year?
Overhyped. You gotta. I like Allen, but at the same time, it's in a way he's almost like, no, I'm not even gonna say that. I'll just say this. I just think there's too much hype. You don't know what Caleb is capable of until he plays his first game.
They got a rookie quarterback, so
that's my point.
Stop
Rick.
being sure, right? Stop being sure they're going to be good. Not you guys. Don't be sure they're going to be good. Say maybe they'll be good. Maybe they'll be better. Listen, they didn't have a bad quarterback last year. That wasn't the issue.
That's right.
Does Dave Canales get fired first, or does he quit?
If he quits,
won't quit.
I'm not gonna lie. I would drive to Charlotte and just talk so much shit. I'm sorry.
I live here. I'll do it through you. I'll just
do it. No, Rick, I will be there with you, and we will be in sync with. Be like, damn, what happened?
Yeah, Dave Canales is not going to quit. There's just no way he'll quit. He'll just ride the contract out, and why not?
Good God! I mean, can you imagine riding with Bryce Young? Like, Bryce, I need you to throw this pass, Coach. I can't see.
Okay. Hey, now, hold on. It's not like Baker is tall.
It ain't like 6 foot and 6'1", but there's a difference between being 6 foot or 6'1" and 5'9" or 5'8". Don't tell me Bryce Young is 5'10". I'm not buying it. Bryce Young is Bryce Young is an inch taller than me, and I'm 5'7". Damn that. He is short. And
what's he officially listed?
They said 5'10". I'm not buying it. You know how the
if it said 5'10", he's not 5'10".
He's not 5'10", right?
Nobody brags about 5'10". If you are 5'10", you'll say 5'11". I get it. But,
exactly.
I mean, I got it.
Baker is probably 6 foot, but he'll say 6'1".
Right.
But Baker's like 6 foot, but 5'10", he can't see. And then again, guys, who the hell is Bryce going to be throwing to in Tampa? He doesn't have. I mean, in Carolina. If anything, the Bucs. If I'll say this, guys, and this is a hot take, if the Bucs wanted to be that surprise team that surged their way to the top, this would be the season. We just said it. 49ers. We don't know what they're going to be with IU. Detroit. We'll see. The first.
I just can't. There's nothing in me that says, okay, the Bucs have leaped Detroit.
No, not leaped, but you just said like last year, the Cowboys, this was their shot. The Bucs, this will be their shot to be that team that overachieves, maybe like Dave was saying about Detroit. This is their year because so many people are going to be in disarray in the NFC. And again, right now, the only team that's solid is Detroit. But Dave just said it. What if they're not ready for that yet? What if people adjust again? You don't think people are going to adjust?
What if this is the thing that kills me though? It kills me like when you say, okay, the Falcons. Not Kurt Warner.
Don't confuse the two.
What's his name?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah, Captain Kirk.
Okay, Kirk Cousins. What do you think, AJ? What do you think about him?
I think he's a good quarterback, but at the same time, he's not the guy to take you to the promised land.
Why do you think that?
Because he chokes under pressure, statistically speaking, and record-wise, that shows. And if you think you're going to have,
you're saying looking at his history.
Yeah, looking at his history. And
now hold on.
Okay.
If you're gonna do that,
okay.
Look at Baker Mayfield's history. He's never strung 2 good seasons together. Okay.
Agreed.
So if you're gonna say let's apply history to Kirk Cousins, you gotta say let's apply history to Baker.
Yes and no, because Kirk has been in the league long enough to where you see that. And it's not like Kirk was on when he was with Washington, they weren't bad. And then when he got to Minnesota, they damn sure really weren't bad then. Baker, I just think people don't realize. I think people thought what Baker has in Tampa, they thought that's what they had in Cleveland when that wasn't the case. That was a mirage of a franchise. They had one little season, they overachieved, and then when people adjusted, Freddie Kitchens, he shouldn't have been given the entire damn kitchen because
they got rid of him that year. They made the playoffs. Yeah. Baker had a great year. They made the playoffs, and then they fired the coach.
Well,
I
again,
mean,
I just think that, again, that's a bad organization move. That's why I think Baker in Tampa will be much better because you have a coach in Bowles that's going to know his part. You have a GM that we have in the great almighty Jason
But
Light.
this kills me because how many fans are ready to fire Bowles? I just sent Dave a link.
Yeah.
To CBS Sports had a list. Actually, you guys talk. I'll see if I can bring this up. But I sent Dave a link to a list of CBS Sports showing coaches. Well, I'll just tell you, showing coaches on the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd Bowles was one of them. I'm like,
where'd that come from?
What?
Same guy who said they were going to win 2 games last year.
But how could Todd Bowles be on the hot seat? I mean, even if they have a bad year, how could Todd Bowles be on the hot seat? I mean, the only way you could be on the hot seat is if he doesn't have the personality to sell tickets. Okay. That's there's some truth to that.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to. I look at it like this: Bowles is as long as he's winning games and the team doesn't quit like the Eagles or they don't just implode. The man is not on the hot seat. He is doing his job. It just takes time. And I know because I've said in the past, well, look at what happened in New York. This is a different day, different coach. He's coming back. He's learned from his mistakes.
It was the Jets.
There it is. A lot of people.
I mean, it was.
It was the Jets.
This is the thing that drives me. Bill Parcells didn't do it with the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was the Jets.
Nobody since Weeb Eubank, which a lot of people would have to Google to know who I'm talking about. They haven't done it since him.
Bill Belichick got hired and quit like 2 days later. I think he got in there.
Patriot job looks better.
Right. Looked around and went, yeah, never mind. And quit.
There you go.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, at least Bill Parcells had the courtesy to leave us at the altar twice. After saying and agreeing to terms with the Bucs twice.
Yeah.
And then turning around and walking away and saying, never mind, before the press conference. At least it was before the press conference. Right. I mean, they had the press conference. He had his office. He moved into his office. He sat down as the Jets head coach, started to get all the necessary information and said, I got to go. It was a disaster.
Yes.
All right, we got to move on. I know Dave has some stuff.
Yes, sir.
He's needing to get out tonight. So let's talk about the main thing that I wanted to bring up tonight is I found a Twitter account called ML Football that has been putting out some interesting content. I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. They put out a list of the top 25 quarterbacks. And my thought process is it is imperfect.
I'll say.
But it's a decent list.
It's a,
these lists go, sometimes these people.
It's full of youngins.
Hush a minute. Sometimes people put these lists together and they're just like, ridiculous. This one, okay. Now, Dave's got some points to make here that I think are valid and accurate, but we're going to talk about this list. Let me bring it up here. All right, this is the ML Football top 25 quarterback list. Now, let's just do this the easy way. Let's start at the top. I don't think it's debatable. They got that right. Greatest quarterback ever. I don't think it's debatable.
I think the all-time winningest quarterback with the highest winning percentage should be number 1.
Okay.
He's not even on the list.
Okay. We're going to get to that in just a moment there.
Yeah, I have so many things.
Dave's got somebody in particular he's really angry is not on this.
Yeah, I'd flip Peyton and Joe, because if you want to say the greatest regular season quarterback, you can say Peyton Manning, hands down, because of the statistics and what he did. But Joe was a winner. Joe was 4-0 in the Super Bowl. That man.
See, I view Joe Montana somewhat like I view Michael Jordan. He just didn't when crunch time came, when the big game happened. He just, when he was in the championship, he just didn't lose.
Yeah, he took over.
He just didn't lose. I mean, we can discuss who went more, but Joe Montana just didn't lose. Now, all right, hold on. Let me pull this list down and give Dave center screen, just so, because Dave's got something he needs to get off his chest, and let's let him go full screen and have at it. Go for it, Dave.
I'm going to discuss a quarterback who's the all-time winningest in winning percentage with 81%. I'm talking about a quarterback who played for 10 seasons, who in all 10 seasons went to the championship game and won 7 of them. I'm talking about a quarterback who won 105 games, lost 17, and tied 5. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think he probably played for
before there was even the term was created.
He played for Nazareth when they were taking on,
But how can you leave Otto Graham off a top 25 list when I just rattled off Otto Graham?
Who?
That's like people. This is you're putting guys in practically diapers on this list. I mean, it's all the young people. It's like it's about winning. And if you want to talk about winning, you go straight to Otto Graham. He was 10 years he played. 10 years he went to the championship game and won 7 of them.
Sounds like he's the Bill Russell of quarterbacks. I hear
exactly. He deserves mention. This is just a statistical laden spewing of recent quarterbacks is all that is.
I hear you.
He only played 10 years?
Yes. Jim Brown only played, 9?
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder what the deal was with that.
Well, you didn't get paid like you did.
Well, no, that's true. That's true. But does getting paid make you play longer or less? I don't know. I don't disagree that this list, I said at the beginning, the list is imperfect. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is, let's call them modern era quarterbacks. Like I said, Dave is bringing up,
but do you leave Babe Ruth off
Nazareth
the list?
Played Jerusalem.
Do you leave Babe Ruth off the list in baseball? No, you do not. So why would you leave Otto Graham off? He played after Babe Ruth, for goodness sakes.
Well, again, Dave.
Are you saying Otto Graham is the Babe Ruth of the NFL?
Yes, I am.
Hey,
did you hear what I just said? He's the all-time winningest quarterback. He played 10 years, went to the championship game 10 times, won 7 of them.
There you go. I'm with Dave.
7.
It's just whoever did this research didn't truly look at the entire game and understand it and know the history. You have to know the history of football and any sport, because if it wasn't for certain players, they were ahead of their time. Like you said, the Otto Grahams were winning. I think they put Mahomes way too far up there right now. Mahomes hasn't even finished his career yet. What happens if after this season he never goes to another Super Bowl and only one playoff after that, and has like 4 back-to-back losing?
Hold on. In answer to your question, he's still, how many Super Bowls has he won?
He's won 3.
How many's he been to?
He's been to 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah, which one did they lose?
So what I want to point out is, look at the people below him. How many did Aaron Rodgers go to? How many did Dan Marino go to? How many did Dan Marino win? How many did Brett Favre go to? How many did he win?
Elway is the same. Elway's been to like 6 and he won 2 of them. But again, it's a different era. See, the thing is, and I know that this is a cop-out, but it is what it is at this point. We don't know what Mahomes is going to be like when Kelsey's gone and when Reed is gone. And also, he's playing in a
But you're not going to be as good when all those guys are gone. Okay?
I'm surprised how good they were this
They
last year.
compare him to Brady already, and I'm like,
Brady, hold on, though. Brady always had players around him who were a great defense. So that's
my point. But he made things happen. What's going to happen with this Chiefs team? You can't rely on Chris Jones to be your only anchor forever.
But you're saying is if Patrick Mahomes isn't going to win if he doesn't have players around him, nobody will. But there's not one guy on this list that will.
These lists typically go by championships. I'm going to ask this question. I think from just a pure talent standpoint, just somebody who knew how to be a quarterback, who had the quickest release I've ever seen, to me, the best talented quarterback ever before he got hurt was Dan Marino. So I asked the question, how many Super Bowls would he have had to have won to be number one?
Wow.
Well, the thing is this, he would have had to, and this is what I say about Brady. Brady knew how to change an organization. Brady knew how. Everybody was like, is it Brady or Belichick? It was Brady. It was Brady all along. Look at Belichick's record without Brady. Brady changed organizations. Brady changed the Tampa organization, and don't be mistaken, we are still in the Brady era. Okay, he is no longer on the team, but this team is still dripping with what's left over from Tom Brady being here. The drive, the discipline, the understanding of the game, the determination on the little things.
Mm-hmm.
That's all left over from Brady right now. So what I think makes Brady great is Brady turned the Buccaneers into a year after year after year after year winning champion. They didn't do that until Brady got there. Okay. And now that he's gone, they're still doing it. That's because of Brady. Okay. Don't make the mistake. All right. Now Brady was done. That last year, he was done. All right.
He was done getting hit. It's like,
but do not make a mistake.
Wherever.
The one thing I will not question is Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback ever. I mean, you just don't do what he did. I mean, he played,
20-some years.
Yeah. I mean, and
well, I also think there's the Brady effect when we look at quarterbacks as recent as tonight. When we look at Kirk Cousins, there's the thought Cousins is going to be 36 years old when he gets under center for week 1 this year. 36 years old. Now, we've got Brady on the brain thinking, well, he's got another 10 years.
That's not that old. Right.
But that's not the case, and that's not how it normally works. Like Cousins is 36 years old. He's 1-4 in the playoffs, and he's coming off his first major injury.
He probably has a good 5 or 6 years left. I think 40 or 42 in there. That's about that for any quarterback.
Who else besides Brady's done that?
Aaron Rodgers.
Even close. Aaron Rodgers.
Peyton Manning, maybe, but he was carried. He was carried to that.
Yeah,
team.
that last Super Bowl he won was in spite of him. It wasn't.
This is my point. This is my point. These days, because you don't take the hits, because it's not as brutal, because you're able to play a style of offense that's not as hard on the quarterbacks as it was. Guys are going to be able to play until they're 40 or 42, right around in there. That's going to happen. 40. Let's call it 40. Okay.
And I agree, but that also takes away, in a way, and people can disagree, but I think it takes away the integrity and level of difficulty and skill of the game of football. You just said it, Dave. Dan Marino played in the era where his head was damn near taken off, and he still was lighting up the damn scoreboard. He was a quarterback so ahead of his time. I tell people the reason why the 85 Bears aren't perfect is because of Dan Marino. Dan Marino was the guy who showed you what. Can you imagine if Dan Marino had a defense, a real defense to help him?
Or a running game.
or running
games out in playoffs.
There you go. So the guys like that, and the Troy Aikmans and the Kurt Warners, I love quarterbacks who like they played in the era where their heads, because it's so easy. That's why I say a guy like Mahomes, and you said it best, Rick. When it comes to Brady, his impact is immense. I don't see that from Mahomes. I see him being in a situation where, yes, he's in an era where he's taking advantage of it, which is fine. But can you imagine the beatdown we put on him in the Super Bowl? Can you imagine if he would have played the first Bucs defense in the Super Bowl where getting hit was legal? He wouldn't have survived. Can you imagine Warren Sapp shoving his ass to the ground like he did Kurt Warner? I think that's why with Mahomes, I want to know what would happen. We know what happens if he plays against a defense in the game lets him play. He's going to fold. They're still talking about a damn throw that he got off that was incomplete in the Super Bowl, and it was a blowout. Can you imagine him playing in an era where he can get hit and the refs aren't going to throw their flags? A lot of those guys, like you said, Dan Marino was just ahead of his time. I think Kurt Warner is another guy that's underlooked, because can you imagine if he would have got a shot? Well, first of all, this man, he has the Brady effect, Rick. He brought 2 franchises out of poverty, and they were in the same division, the Rams and the Cardinals. If anybody ever said they were a Cardinals fan before then, I would call them a damn liar.
Hold on, brother.
Terry Metcalf and Jim Hart.
Hold on, brother. This guy's known me since kindergarten. He will tell you, running around as like a 10-year-old in Conway Estates in Orlando, I had my little St. Louis Cardinals uniform. Jim Hart. Yeah, Conrad Dobler. Oh, no, brother. You got the wrong. You could not have said that.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. For everybody who was around when Steve Rogers was with and Dwight Eisenhower was around, that's cool.
Hey, let's not get carried away. I never said I saw autogram play. I just read off some statistics.
Look, I can't talk either. I caught the end of Dan Marino, but the way that my family was talking about him and then seeing him play certain games, I said, damn, he was that guy. Dan Marino, if you said it, can you imagine if Dan Marino had Ricky Williams?
Well, hold on, but this is my thing. Dan Marino was an early peak at what we have now at quarterback.
Yes.
We have quarterbacks like him now.
Yes.
But it was I've
never
peak.
seen anybody throw the ball like him. I'm taking all bias and prejudice and setting it aside about eras and all that. And I'm saying, I never saw anybody throw a ball like Dan Marino could. He could pinpoint it 45 yards downfield. I mean, it was unbelievable.
So could Jay Cutler. I mean, Jay Cutler had an unbelievable arm. He was
did
crazy
you just
accurate.
Compare Dan Marino to Jay Cutler?
No, my point is
bad for the show, man.
My point. What I'm saying is great. You never saw a guy throw the ball like him. Well, I never saw a guy throw the ball like Jim Zorn. Okay, I never saw. Throw the ball like. I mean,
I get where you're going. It's tangible.
It's not like they're saying Dan Marino sucked. They put him 6th. Now you want to put him above Aaron Rodgers? I'm okay with that. I think Aaron Rodgers on this list. Aaron Rodgers is the one I would have most of a dispute with. He's the one I'm most overrated out of that group.
You wouldn't be too far from it. I'm an Aaron. I like Aaron, but again, he's another guy. He is basically Aaron Rodgers is what Kirk Cousins wish he could be. A guy that is good and has the tangibles, but just doesn't know how to put it together. I mean, hell, if
Aaron, I think Kirk Cousins is too structured. He doesn't go outside the box. Here, this is the call. This is the call, and I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to have 1 or 2 progressions. He doesn't think out of the box. He doesn't Wing. He's the farthest from. He's the antithesis of Brett Favre.
Dave, will you look something up for me?
Yeah.
How tall is Tom Brady?
6'5".
This is going to be interesting.
I think he's 6'5",
Oh,
6'4".
all right.
Before or after divorce?
Hell, nah, he's winning.
He's gotten older. He's shrinking.
He's winning.
He's 6'4".
Okay, 6'4". How old is Peyton
1.93
Manning?
meters, if you'd like it more exact.
How old is Peyton Manning?
I think
How old is
how
Peyton
tall?
Manning?
I mean, how tall is Peyton Manning?
6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, he's tall.
How tall?
Height. I need to put that in this search thing. Just a second. He's 6'5" or 1.96 meters.
How tall is Joe Montana?
I think Joe.
He's a gnome. Hold a second.
6'2".
$6'2".
Okay. How tall is Pat Mahomes?
6'4".
Okay. How tall is Aaron Rodgers?
Mahomes is 6'3".
Okay, I think Aaron is 6'2".
Before or after his trip?
Trip. Literally.
He is such a.
Well, it was really important to him. He told him about it
tall?
in advance, and he's 6'2".
Okay. And Dan Marino.
I think Dan was what? He's 6'4", 6'3".
He's 6'4".
How tall is Otto Graham?
5'7".
I think he's 6'1".
6'1".
Put him in this NFL, and he's not going to be the same guy. Now, I'm not disputing that Otto Graham was
Most of
great.
these guys today wouldn't survive in the 1940s and 50s. They would get slobber knocked and or have Ben Butkus like ring their bell a few times.
No. That's not true, because the guys that were hitting them, the linebackers, are now kickers. I mean, they're the size of kickers.
No, I'm talking about
it's a whole different league, Dave. These guys are
Jack
5
Tatum
inches
was
taller.
His nickname was the Assassin. It's because he could hit people back then. You can't
Yeah,
hit
he
people
could
now.
hit people relative to the time. Look, man, I can, if you want, I can give you a whole size comparison on what an NFL player was back, 20 years ago, 30 years ago versus now, 50 years ago versus now. There's a big difference. If you have LT coming at you, okay, if you have some of these guys now coming at you, the guys back then weren't this big and weren't this fast and weren't this strong.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. A guy 30 back then looks like John Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop, and they would be age 30.
Yes, exactly.
And then guys nowadays, but I will say this though, some of these guys are nowhere mentally. They don't have the assassin in them. You could be fast and all you want, but if the rules were I can knock you on your ass, these guys are like, I want a new contract. I can't deal with this.
I agree with you. It's a whole different game mentally and all of that. But I mean, back really, to be honest with you, in Dan Marino's era, in Brady's early era, it was a whole different deal.
I think that was the most
when Vontaze Burfict, when Vontaze Burfict was practically coming out on the field with a baseball bat in his hands.
That's another discussion, fellas. We should say for another show. What was the most balanced era of football? I'm not even going to say anything. I already got my pick. I'll let you guys.
I can do this now. I can do this off the top of my head. I can do this.
Ooh, go ahead.
90s, no doubt. 90s or the first 5 years of the 2000s.
I'm going to go with the early 2000s from
I'll go 95 to or 90 to 2005. I think was and then everything started changing.
I would say that was the most balanced era because you could throw, run, and you could hit. And oh man, now that is the era. See, I don't think Mahomes would survive in that era. That's why you're playing in an era where everything is inflated and you're and it's putting the defense at a disadvantage.
Why do you think he wouldn't survive? People like Fran Tarkenton survived. People that ran around. What's his name in Philly? Randall Cunningham.
Randall Cunningham.
Michael
These guys
Vick.
were built, but these guys not only had it here, but also here.
So does Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes is getting
come on.
baby. No, when this is the guy that goes, I'm right here. You step to him right now. The refs will throw a flag to protect him. See,
he's using what do you want him to do? Go to the refs and have that? Hey man, back in 2004, they would, he's going by the rules now. He's gonna. You see Tom Brady get hit, and you see Tom Brady would get looked at dirty, and he would right away look for the referees because that's how the rules are.
Have you ever seen Mahomes take a hit like Brady? See, that's my thing. I love the fact that Brady earned his stripes to be the golden boy of the NFL. Because
I've not seen Patrick Mahomes take a hit like Brady because Patrick Mahomes can move.
Run.
He can move.
His movement is
go over 11 miles an hour.
It is. But
Listen, man, Brady, when Tom Brady dropped back to pass, the defense wasn't going, I wonder where he's going to be.
Oh, no.
Let's rush a little slower because you don't know what's about to happen. They could just tee off.
Mahomes he's not like Mike Vick either. He runs just fast enough. But he's another guy where put him on his ass a couple of times. He is the type where he'll be like, okay, yeah, let me not do this.
Let me tell you something. During the Bucs Super Bowl against the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes was the only player on that field that showed up for the Chiefs. And at the end of the game, after running sideline to sideline, being chased like he had no chance in that game, but he
did.
Gave everything. He's the one who showed up. He's the guy throwing. He wasn't even horizontal. He was tilted down, and he's still throwing 50-yard pinpoint passes down the field into the end zone, and his receivers are missing it.
Hey,
Patrick Mahomes. Listen, you've heard me repeatedly make fun of the baby goat comments because way too early. Well, let me say this. It's getting less early, okay? It's getting less early. He's been to 4. All right, it's nowhere close. He's won 3. He's about halfway to Brady, okay? I'll give him he's about halfway there. But come on, man. When you're critical of Patrick Mahomes, really? What has the guy done to be critical of?
A lot, and he's lost to the GOAT. He's never beaten Brady when it matters. How you gonna be better than a GOAT than you that beats you every time?
I'm not saying he's better than the GOAT,
but he doesn't even.
Brady is the GOAT. That means the greatest of all time. So I'm not calling Mahomes the greatest of all time. Just because I'm not calling him the greatest of all time, let me ask you something. Let me go back to this list. Let me ask you something. Right now, today, you get to pick your quarterback out of anybody who's still playing. Okay?
That's still playing.
Well, yeah.
Okay. You got to make it tougher. You can't choose. Yeah, if I can't get Brady.
No, you get Aaron Rodgers. You get all the young guys that just started. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else on this list. No, there's not. Okay.
No.
You get what's his name in Cincinnati, Burrow.
Joe Burrow?
You get what's his name in Houston, Stroud. You've got to choose who you want to be your quarterback out of everybody playing in the NFL today. Mm-hmm. You get one. We're going to redraft the whole NFL. Okay, we're going to redraft the whole NFL, and you get the first pick.
Ooh, here's the thing. Who's the coach?
Doug Williams.
Who's the coach? No.
They're playing today.
No, but who is the coach? Because that does make the whole thing different. Am I going to have an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded coach? We have to be fair. You have to be fair because that's another thing people forget.
No, because your coach may not be there forever, but if you draft a phenomenal quarterback, he's going to be there. You don't sit there and say, I'm not going to draft a quarterback because my coach's defense. No, you're going to get – listen.
Didn't Mahomes sit a few years to learn the game? It isn't like he came out smoking. He sat for at least 2 seasons under Alex Smith, who wasn't a terrible quarterback, but he was good enough. He was steady, just like Brady. Brady learned under Bledsoe for 1 season.
Okay, but we're talking right now.
Okay, if we're gonna go right now, of course you go with Mahomes because his body of work. But again, it's not like.
So you're saying, but when you're sitting here being so critical of Mahomes, I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's the best player in the league right now.
I say that because, again, what I saw what the Bucs did to him, it showed me what happens when you play in it. What would happen if the league allowed these guys to tee off on quarterbacks like they did in the past? Because you guys probably
what would Tom Brady have done against the Bucs defense that day? He would have gotten his ass kicked. He would have been out in the first quarter. They would have carried him off on a stretcher that day.
I'm not saying that he wouldn't. But
who are you going to put out there that would have done better than what he did that day?
I have another quarterback complaint.
What's up?
And it hits very close to home. This is a Super Bowl quarterback. He's got better winning percentage than number 18 on the list. Oh, and his name's Brad Johnson.
I thought he was
nowhere to be found.
Oh, Lord. I thought he was going to.
Oh, God. No,
is that too old for you, too?
I thought he was about to say.
I love Brad.
I just thought you were about to say something like, I like Six-Toe Johnson. He played for the.
No,
he played
for the Akron Mustangs.
The Poughkeepsie.
No, Brad his job was not to mess up, and he did it. He did a hell of a job. When you're a quarterback that's told, hey, you just do your job. I don't know why people don't like the term game manager. There are a lot of game managers. In Brady's early career, he was a game manager. Nothing wrong with being a game
manager. Late
in
his career, he was a game manager. With the Buccaneers, that's what he was.
He was in Minnesota. He put up some fabulous stats. If you look at Brad Johnson, really has better stats than Troy Aikman, who's got a bust in Canton.
Hey, Troy got 3. Well, and a lot of people say Troy also had Michael Irvin.
How do you
have the greatest line
you just
of
can't
all
compare.
time.
You just, but
Emmitt Smith.
Yes, he's got better stats, and this is where stats. This is when things get weird. I mean,
but that's what makes it interesting because we have to. You remember all these quarterbacks, including Brady. You had to have somebody.
Well, you take them into account. You have to take the statistics into account. Yes, but there are other things, and with a quarterback,
play a game. Let's get rid of the statistics and all that, and different eras and that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
It's one game for $1 gazillion. One game, just one game. Who do you want as your quarterback?
Tom Brady.
Playing today or just ever?
Just ever.
Give me Tom.
If
Brady.
You've got one game
Tom
and your life depended on it, who's your quarterback?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, because Tom knows how to make anyone the hero, not just himself. Rick has said it. He finds the greatness wherever he goes. That one guy that's forgotten on the team, Brady will say, nobody's looking at you. I'm going to find it. I'm going to get you open. That is to me Aaron Rodgers should be lower because when shit is critical, he's so obvious. When we played him in the NFC Championship, when he threw that pass to when he could have ran it, but Devin White probably would have killed him. But either way, when he tried to throw it to Devontae Adams in double coverage. Hell, if the safety was paying attention, he could have picked it off. Brady is that guy where that's what makes him scary. You don't know who he'll throw it to. I
want to see Otto Graham with Vita Vea crushing the center in today's game, whether it would be the same thing. I know
is it about winning or not?
Dave's going to say, well, I liked Brewski McGillicuddy from the Poughkeepsie Tigers.
Yeah, that Willie Mays guy, he's too old. We don't consider him in baseball whatsoever because he played too many.
Baseball, Dave, baseball. Baseball. The ball's still the same size. Okay. I mean, it's
how do you compare between eras? I mean, how do you compare between decades? All
football,
decade teams?
In football,
how about winning? Take the guy with the biggest winning percentage. Put him on the list. How about that?
I'm fine with that. But the thing is this, if my life's on the line and I have to pick a quarterback, I'd like somebody who I know can stand up to today's defensive players. Not pick somebody who was like, yeah, but he was really good back then. Sorry, the game is different. The plays that are called are different. The defenses are different. The offenses are different. The schemes are different. Yeah, you want me to pick somebody that I'm gonna pick from today? Yeah, give me Tom Brady. Thanks.
Yeah, what would you pick, Brady, Dave? Who would you pick if your life depended on it?
See, I have a little bit different. You're thinking Super Bowl or something. I'm just thinking a regular season game.
No, one game. One game. I'm still going with the GOAT Brady.
Yeah, I'm taking Dan Marino. If I have one game,
that's not a terrible answer. That's not a terrible answer because Dan was ahead of his time.
But how many of those one games did he lose? He went to the what?
He went his rookie season, but again, football is a team sport. Can you imagine if he would have had half of things we just said? Brady always had a defense. Brady also always had a commendable line to help him. A lot of these players had great players. The great Joe Montana had Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver to ever play.
Terrell Owens,
the second greatest. That's my personal opinion.
Roger Craig.
What's the tight end? Dallas, right? I forgot his full name. He also had a defensive guys with to help him out. Ronnie Lott and all them. So hell, that guy had generational players on his team. So again, Peyton Manning.
You factor championships in, but they're not the only measure. But by the same token,
yeah.
What's the impact on the players around him? Did he raise the level of the players around him?
I agree.
That's the question.
Yeah.
And my problem, listen, I have no problem saying Dan Marino had unbelievable physical skills, but Dan Marino didn't raise the level of the players around him. You want to know on this list who did? Tom Brady did, Peyton Manning did, Joe Montana did, Patrick Mahomes does. I think Brett Favre did. Yeah, I think so. I do think.
Well,
I think Drew Brees did.
Duper and Clayton weren't exactly high draft picks.
I think John Elway did. I think Kurt Warner did.
I mean, especially Kurt. I'm glad you brought Kurt. Is one of the most unappreciated legends. That guy was a phenomenal.
Because he came in late. He wasn't there long.
Right.
I think
but twice. How do you strike twice? You bring two organizations out of the shadows of the past. Though, if he wins that Super Bowl,
do you realize Tom Brady did that?
I know. I'm just saying. I get. Oh, we know that. But can you imagine if Kurt Warner wins that Super Bowl against the Steelers, which was not his fault, it was the damn Cardinals' shitty defense. He would be deemed one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and like maybe top 10.
Because if I remember right, the Cardinals' regular season record was 9-7. They just eked their way into the playoffs, and then they went on this incredible run.
And Kurt was part of that. And seeing Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden on the other side, I'm like, oh my God, this is almost like Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce all over again.
What was Miami's record the year that they went to the Super Bowl with Marino?
Weren't they at 12-4? Or
no, I don't think so.
No, they were. They did win 10 games, right?
I think they may have been 10-4. Was there only 14 games at the time?
Yes,
I think they may have been 9-5.
And didn't Dan go his rookie season? That sucks.
and then never win
Oh,
again.
if you were a Dolphin fan, you thought that this was going to be a regular
I
occurrence.
know, but that's literally like getting with the baddest chick for one night, and then she dumps you, and then you just.
Hey, then you got with the baddest chick for one night.
Yeah, but it didn't even score because remember,
Okay,
he didn't win it.
1983. What is the?
Yeah, 1983 and 1985.
What
That
was their?
What was
19? What was their record?
83? Must have been the David Woodley Super Bowl. Is that right?
No, it was Marino.
I don't know about that. I thought he only went once.
He did. 1983. They were 7-4. Hold on.
I thought they were four. It says they were 14-2, and the 49ers were 15-1.
No. Dolphins were not 14-2.
I think they were.
Really?
It was the 84 season. Because the Dolphins.
So it wasn't his rookie year.
So it must have been his second year. Yeah, I think he went.
Yeah, David Woodley was the quarterback in 83. He went in Dan Marino went in 85.
And what was their record? The 85 Dolphins.
85. Hold on.
I just know that man.
Here we go. 12-4.
Again.
Yeah, 12-4 and 85.
Hey, said 12-4 early.
Yes,
so.
you did. Yes, you did.
Cool. So I mean, but that's just sometimes that's just how it goes, man. Just damn. Can you imagine that just being one time and they don't even win it? At least had he won it, it'd be a better experience.
Well, this is sort of what my point is about everybody says, "Oh my God, Dan Marino," and I think Dan Marino was an amazing arm talent, but I don't think it was an amazing quarterback. I think he had some amazing skills, but I don't think he was an amazing quarterback, much like Jay Cutler had one of the biggest, most crazy arms you've ever seen. It was phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal Jay Cutler's arm was, but he sucked as a quarterback.
He sucked as a person.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and that is what's different. Dan Marino had a lot more going for him as a person than Jay Cutler. Okay?
That's true. I mean,
and I'm not trying to downgrade Dan Marino. I'm trying to be realistic and say there are certain quarterbacks like Montana, there are certain quarterbacks like Brady that, like Kurt Warner, that just had the ability to make people around them better. Dave, you've seen it in basketball. I know you and I've had this discussion previously in basketball where there are certain players that when they get on a team, the rest of the team just plays better versus just
like Chris Paul. I mean, you can count on, I think it takes more than one hand to talk about all the franchises he's pulled up.
Chauncey Billups.
Right. So
yeah, I mean, Chris Paul goes on your team, you're going to win 15, 20 more games than you won the year before.
So, and let me say this. Let me say a quarterback, if we're going to talk, I'm not saying top of all time. I'm not trying to put him on the list, but someone who doesn't get the credit that they deserve. And when you think about it, has taken, again, 2 franchises out of the shadow of the past and turn them into a winning team. I'm talking about Jared Goff. Okay? He's done it with 2 different teams. All right, so we can sit there and we can rip on Jared Goff and we can Jared Goff. But this is a guy that has pulled 2 teams from crap to becoming respectable, maybe battling for a championship.
Business. Yeah.
What's that?
A respectable business. Yeah, when you turn a team into a respectable business, yeah, when you can change the culture, that's something that you cannot you can't teach it. You just have to have it, or you
correct. Correct.
Yeah, you don't have. If you don't have it, that's just
And Dan Marino relied on Don Shula to guide the culture. Tom Brady ran the culture. He created the culture.
Yes.
Okay. That's where things are different.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning created the culture.
I wanted to hit pause and just go back to make sure we tell people the right thing. Dan Marino's rookie season was the 1983 season. He only played 11 games, but he was the starting quarterback in the 1984 Super Bowl against Joe Montana when they lost. And where I saw 85, the Dolphins, that's wrong. That's the only
what was their record in 84?
That's the only time that Dan Marino went to a Super Bowl.
What was their record in 84?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
You mean 83 when they went?
They went in 83?
In the 83.
It's the 83 season in the 1984 Super Bowl.
Oh, so that was his rookie season.
So it was 83.
Yes.
And their record was what?
Pretty good. Just a second. 12-4.
Okay. So they were 12-4 in 83.
And then they lost to Joe. Woo, and it wasn't like they lost by a little. They got the ass whooped. That was a thump.
But see, this is the thing. This is where.
Okay, wait. I'm getting different. Hold on a second. Okay, the 1983 season they were 12-4, and it says here they were first in the AFC East and lost to the Seahawks 27-20. I was actually at that game in the Orange Bowl, and then the next year, the second year is when they were 14-2, went to the Super Bowl and lost to the 49ers 38-16.
Oh, so his second year.
So it was the.
I'm only as good as the information I see, and
I gotcha.
That makes sense. Going
it was
back
the 84 season. They went in January of 85.
Right.
So, hey,
that 83 loss to the Seahawks, I believe, was the end of the Killer Bees and the dominant defense Miami had. I think it was AJ Dewey or one of their main players tore up his knee, and that was that.
Okay. So,
but 84 was the big year, 14-2, and lost to the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
My point when we look at people like, when there are certain quarterbacks that their impact on the franchise is massive. Okay, Kurt Warner was one of them. When Tom Brady came to Tampa, we've discussed this. The person answering the telephone at the office did a better job than they did the year before because excellence was demanded. From that person down to the guy sweeping the stadium to whatever, everybody had to be excellent. Brady demanded excellence. Now, he didn't. I mean, what it was is he demanded excellence from the organization, and the organization went and did that. And you had the right kind of people for that, like Jason Light, like Bruce Arians. Okay. But Tom Brady changed the organization. And my thing is, Dan Marino was an amazing arm talent, but he didn't change the organization. He relied on Don Shula to do that. And that's where that's where I separate the two. Now, Brett Favre changed the Packers.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He threw a lot of interceptions too.
But he changed the Packers organization.
Yes,
if you recall, prior to that, the Packers sucked for a long time. The Packers sucked.
Yeah.
And they haven't sucked since then. And it was why? It wasn't because of the coaches. It was Brett Favre. When Brett Favre got out of Atlanta, and he said, if Brett Favre, people forget, Brett Favre got drafted by the Falcons. And
Jerry Glanville.
They called him Buckhead Brett. Buckhead is an area of Atlanta where there were nothing but nightclubs. They called him Buckhead Brett. He said he would have died if he had stayed in Atlanta because all he did was party. So that's Brett Favre saying that, not me. Okay, so he got out of Atlanta and went to Green Bay and got his mind on football, and everything changed.
Yeah, ain't nothing to do.
Right.
I'm not saying nothing to do in Wisconsin, but
right.
It is football.
What would have happened, for instance, with the Falcons if Mike Vick had his mind on football? This is why Mike Vick, I don't think, makes the list. Not because of the dog thing, which everybody who knows me knows what a pet guy I am. All right, what an animal guy I am. But Mike Vick had all the talent in the world. That guy could have been amazing. could have been amazing, but he didn't study his playbook. He didn't try to. Didn't even try to.
Well, something that we've alluded to at times is the problem the NFL has. You can be a great quarterback talent, but because of the way the draft works, you're going to a horrible team and you may never get out. Or you never get out without being, quite frankly, ruined. So, I mean, how many talents have come through and were in such bad situations that they never had a chance?
You know, Dave. Yeah. This is interesting because we talked about how the statistic where if you draft a center,
93%.
Now, I want to point out something about that, and this is sort of interesting. If you're drafting a center, why would you draft a center in the first round?
Because you got a young quarterback that you want to protect.
A good quarterback that you want to protect. Okay, so yeah, now that center, the percentage on centers being successful is higher. But you draft a quarterback, it's because you don't have one.
Yeah,
and your team sucks. And yeah, I mean, if you go to a crappy team that doesn't have anybody around you, the chances of pulling out are very difficult. It's very difficult. That's why somebody like CJ Stroud deserves props. But what I find funny is everybody looks at the Texans and says, wow, that organization is real. But then when you look at Detroit doing well, you say, I don't believe it. Well,
I'm gonna bow, but I'll get my last comments. I think both of you made great detailed answers. I'll just say this: organizations make and break quarterbacks every time.
Absolutely.
And with Vic and all of these guys, sometimes it's if the front office doesn't support you the way that they are supposed to, your talent will slowly diminish. Vic was light years ahead of the game, and
he had all the support. He had all the support you could dream of in that.
Yes, on offense maybe, but defensively, it's mad. Like wasn't a big fan of the defense, but also they could have gotten him. And not
who was the great linebacker they had then? I can't think of his
Keith
name.
Brooken.
Yes.
Wasn't nobody worried about no damn Keith Brooken. So I knew you was gonna bring him up. Keith Brooken was literally
apparently I touched him in a tender spot.
No, Keith Brooken was this he is like Atlanta's personal Brian Urlacher, a guy who was a clean cut guy. But he was
is that a cut down? Because it didn't sound like it.
Down, but the thing is, wasn't no damn body. I guarantee you, mostly in the front office, you can neutralize Keith Brooking like that. He was not
because he didn't have a lot of other people. To your point,
he's supposed to be the game changer and the culture changer.
Oh no, no! But I didn't say that. So you're filling in on all kinds of blanks here. I said great linebacker, and if you want to tell me Keith Brooking was not a great linebacker,
I'll say he was a very good linebacker. Great. We pushing it. That's something that's like a local whatever, but I'll let you go on that one. But guys, the list, as Rick said, it isn't perfect. Of course, we have our differences and it's changing because there are people on there that we can talk about another time, but I will let you guys go. And again, you can always find me on the Bucs Report, the Aftermath 102.9 Game, Broad Street South Radio with Slick. As always, though, thank you, Bucs Live, for having me. And let's go Bucs. That's the most important thing.
Week one, Bucs. Commanders, I'm ready. I'm ready. Throw Jaden Daniels out there, please. I was gonna let him get his first entry into the NFL. First game be against the Bucs defense, please.
And when AJ, you gotta help me out here, brother. Yes, we gotta get Dave to go to that game, go to the Falcons game in Tampa.
Yes, you need to go down there. We'll be there. We are gonna be there. But I do want to say this:
when
we play Washington, England. If we get the first sack, I'm gonna need us all in sequence to sing all night long. Look, because we're gonna get that motherfucker all night. So yes,
everyone you meet are jamming in the street.
Todd Bowles defense where he's gonna get picked off all night long. Look, I'm gonna text.
And worried about me hurting the show.
if he has a Twitter and be like, look, I'm gonna need
Fair
you
enough.
all night. But always blessings to you fellas. Y'all take care.
Have a good night.
All right.
Hey.
Oh, I think it's time to go.
I think so too. I think so too. All right, it's been fun. A lot of fun, Dave. Got anything you want to add?
I just want week 1, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
I'm so serious when I say I'm not. Usually, this is just flip off the switch for football. Let me know in camp. Yeah. Let me know if something exciting happens. Yep. Let me know if Kyle Trask can complete passes or something, anything. But now I'm just I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out why it is this way.
I want nobody getting hurt in camp.
Ready for week 1 already.
I want a camp with no news coming out of it.
Exactly.
I want there to be no news. I want it to be quiet. Everybody going, what? Yes, exactly. And then be ready for the season. All right, guys. Have a great night. Dave, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, as always. It's been a fun night.
It has. Especially in the off season. This was a blast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All righty. This is it. Go Bucs. Go Bucs. See you next week. Go Bucs.
We sucked today. I sucked today. We sucked today. It was awful.